had struggles just like everyone else. The other person I'd like to touch on that you'll also find in our history books, another very well-known man, is Thomas Alva Edison. So who can tell me who he was? He was not the only person who invented the light bulb. There were other people who came up with other designs with light bulbs, but Thomas Alva Edison was able to come up with the working light bulb that we use today. It's a design that stuck. He once remarked that he hadn't failed. In his career, he just found 10,000 different ways that didn't work. Anytime he failed, he just persisted. He would keep going until he found a successful design or invention. And he did until he invented the light bulb as we know today. So these are two very famous people, Thomas Alva Edison and Babe Ruth, and we remember them for their accomplishments, but you cannot forget that they both failed many times, hundreds of times, as I told you tonight, that they never gave up. You will all fail, I have failed, Dr. Thomas, everyone here on stage has had hard times, but we have not given up. And we've continued to be successful. So the important thing is for you to remember that if you fail, this does not mean that you've done a bad job or that you are an unworthy person. Every individual is valuable. You are born to be who you are. Each person is important. Each of you is valuable to this world. And making one mistake or having one failed idea does not mean that you're unsuccessful. It means that you merely need to keep trying. If at first you don't succeed, try again. I'd like to tell you a little story. A fable from Aesop. You probably know Aesop's fables. When I was the artist in residence, I told you this story, and I think some of you saw it, right? I told you a story about the 3 billy goats. Well, that was another fable, from Aesop's Fables, but this is another fable called The Ant and the Grasshopper. Does anyone have a sign? How do you like to sign for ant? Do you sign ant that way? Okay, and how do you all sign grasshopper here at RSD? Grasshopper? That seems like that's... There we go. Grasshopper. That'll work. Great. Okay, excellent. So we all agree. So here's the story. One beautiful summer day in a great big field, the sun shone down on a grasshopper. It was hopping about, chirping and singing his song to his heart's content, enjoying the beautiful day. When all of a sudden he noticed an ant making his way past him, grunting and carrying a large load, a kernel of corn on his back. And you could see the ant struggling as he walked past the grasshopper. The grasshopper was singing on his way and stopped to notice the ant and asked the ant, "Why, whatever are you doing? Where are you off with this heavy thing?" And the ant replied, "Well, I'm off to my home with this kernel of corn, to my anthill out in the distance. We've been collecting corn kernels for days, and I have to deliver this one with the rest of them, helping my family keep them ready for winter. So we'll have food for wintertime." The grasshopper replied, "That's so silly, wasting your time working so hard. Why don't you join me, singing in the sunshine, just enjoying the day? We've got plenty of food. Look at the fields. We'll have no problems. There you are, worrying about the future. That's so silly." And the ant replied, "No, I must go help my family. It's important that we save this corn for the winter. So many brothers and sisters I have, and we must have enough food. So I must go continued to deliver these corn kernels from the field to my anthill. I think you should do the same for winter. The grasshopper thought this was silly and continued about his way, singing and eating to his heart's content in the summer sunshine. While he did this, the ant walked back and forth with his heavy load of corn kernels, bringing them from one end of the field to his anthill. And the grasshopper just continued singing along his way. But soon the weather turned cold and the seasons changed. Soon that very field was covered with a blanket of snow, and all of the food in the field was covered under thick white fluff. And the grasshopper became hungry. All that singing had made him hungry and wondered where he could find some food. Hopped off in the distance where he saw some ants and found the ant hill, and noticed there they were feasting on kernels of corn, sharing and laughing happily, their whole family. And the grasshopper realized, I should have learned my lesson. It's important to be ready for the future. So that's my story. The moral of that story is that you must prepare for your future. So I'm the old sage man, and you're my young students, and my advice to you for this evening is to never give up, to believe in yourselves, and to prepare for your futures. Some of you will go off to college, some of you will go off to find work. But regardless of what you do, when you encounter problems, do not give up. You must persevere. You're all very good people, wonderful people. Don't forget to try your best to be honest. If you find yourself coming across a problem that you don't know what to do, continue to try. And when you must, be honest and ask for help. You've all grown up here at RSD. Your teachers, your friends, the teaching assistants, your family have all helped you grow. And they've been here for you. And when you go out in the world, don't be afraid to ask for help from the people in your life. Sometimes we can be too proud. We don't want to ask for help. We don't want people to look poorly upon us. But the person who suffers the most is the person who does not ask for help. Don't ever be afraid to admit that you need a hand. And if at first you don't succeed, that's right. Try again. The next time you encounter a problem in your life, remember those things that I've told you tonight. Don't forget about Babe Ruth. Don't forget about Thomas Alva Edison. And do not forget my geometry story. That will help you realize that you're not the only one encountering problems and having a difficult time. And if the three of us can do it, anyone can. You must continue to try. You must also know that everyone is not born to be successful all of the time. Some people can be lucky and find success, but it's important that you enjoy every day, that you enjoy your own lives, that you enjoy what you have. Last Tuesday, I went over to Dr. Mom's home for a visit. And I met many different people there. And I chatted with many of them, and we introduced ourselves. I met many of you there. I became familiar with how warm your hearts are and how big your smiles are, and I'm confident that you'll be successful. Don't ever forget that you are warm-hearted people, that you have good friends about you. I wish you all the best of luck.